Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
Yo, dog, Kenny Boucher here, The Long War, and I am joined tonight by my partners in crime, the legendary author of Graveyard Shift, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt. What's up, guys?
Greetings and felicitations.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, my Apple Watch decided to chime in right when you said that.
Is that an update on Rob?
I don't know.
Where's he at?
I'm looking. No, it was not. It's somebody else contacting me about some stuff we're going to talk about today.
Was it an eBay auction that you missed again? Death Watch Mom?
No. Oh, I do have word about that eBay auction. The guy actually recognized me, and so he said to pass on to everybody else that he loves the show. And he's a big fan.
Did you get Death Watch models?
I did get some, yes.
All right.
But I didn't loot like the guy's entire.
As long as there was a positive, because at the end of the day, you're like, yo, I'm just here for my Death Watch models, dog. But like, yeah. All right. Just make sure you got your models.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. So obviously Rob's not here tonight. We wish him well. We're not quite sure. He's claiming that he hurt his eye.
Yeah.
But
he scratched his cornea or something.
Could be a skin suit malfunction. I don't know. So we're definitely going to have to report from the memorial desk tonight.
Reptiles do have that secondary nictitating membrane, so I feel like that's a cover story.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't know what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's how I feel about the subject, you know. Now, without Rob, you know, we're going to have to go through the news. And I have a feeling we're going to get through the news real quick.
Oh, yeah. Well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled machine. But I do miss Rob because, you know, he provides me with so much entertainment, so much joy, you know, with his deadpan comedy routine that is totally not a routine that is just him.
Well, he's also the only adult. And so now I have to be an adult, which is
scary in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, like, I hate responsibility.
Yeah. Before we kick it off into our table of contents, I just want to say happy birthday to Wyatt. It was his birthday yesterday.
It was. Thank you.
Over 30 now, right?
31. Wow. 31 years old.
So Wyatt is fully into his 30s now. Not the end of his 20s.
Yeah.
So this whole podcast is grown-ups now. You're a grown-ass man now, Wyatt.
I'm old now, Gandalf. I know I don't show it, but I feel it in my bones.
That's right.
So we got a tabletop marketplace tonight. We got a Haspil's Corner, which is always a treat when we have Haspil. We have a What's New in the FAQ, because some exciting things did in fact drop. And we have an exciting segment where we're going to break down to you why Landspeeders are now OP. Everything's OP. But before we get into that...
Everything's OP, nothing is.
I mean, that's my dream. My dream is to play a game where everything's OP. But before all of that, we're going to roll out into the Cave of Wonders with Wyatt.
All right. I got you, boys. Would you rather have detachable ears or nipples that clicked in and out like pen caps?
This is a weird one, dog. This
is very strange.
The gin is fucking with me now. Oh, real quick, obligatory. Any health risks associated with you?
No. This is just like a really weird thing about you that you'll have forever.
Am I like a Lego man now, or is it still fleshy and organic?
Yeah. It's just like use your ears. It's just like you can detach them.
Is there any risk of them falling off, because I take my sunglasses off wrong?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but not really. It's like if there were any negatives, it's like minor inconveniences. All
right, just try to suss out the monkey pawness of this one.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about putting a caveat where it's almost like the PJAR, where it's you have to you're compelled to be hey, look what my nipples can do, and click. But I was just nah. I mean, it's two weird things that could change your life in subtle ways.
Yeah. The if I have to tell people, then that kind of skews me back to ears because right, it's more it's more appropriate to casually just pull my nipples out and be like, check this shit out. But
I mean, you wouldn't have to pull it out, you know. I mean, like it's like maybe a little awkward. Like maybe you like reach for your drink at dinner, and then people just hear like a little click. They're like, "What was that?"
Oh, that's a good one from the chat. So if I detach my ears, do I still hear through the hole that's embedded in my head, or am I?
No, there's no hole. It's like they just like come off, and it's like an action figure. It's like
can I still hear?
No.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the
these
nips all
are not
day.
like these are not remote listening devices.
So, but I lose the ability to lactate through my nipples if I take my nipples off.
I mean, do you do that? Like, you're not.
Yeah,
because
if you're doing that, Kenny, we need to talk after the show.
So, you know, earlier when you guys were, you know, like
you
why I was like,
some medical attention.
"You're healthy, Kenny," and all this. I don't think I'm healthy, guys. There's a lot wrong over here, but I'm gonna pick ears. As soon as you hit me with like, I don't get to hear it, like Mr. Potato Head ears over here, and like I'm just like, turn it the fuck off. And you know how frustrating that would be in a fight with somebody, like we're just saying, like maybe like a spousal fight where they're like,
hey, better not lose them shits though.
Oh, I mean,
because if you lose them, there's no like hearing aid in the world.
Oh shit. Oh, see, I knew there was a monkey paw here.
Nips all day.
Nips, back to nips.
Yeah, I got to do that.
Back to
I mean,
nips.
like, there's some positives to each one. I mean, like, you ever like been like laying in bed and then just like for whatever reason, like you just can't like get the side of your head comfortable on the pillow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You just like take your ear off and then you don't have to worry about it.
No,
and, like,
I agree. I agree.
With clicky nips, if you're bored, you can just like, it's like a fidget device. You can just sit there and like watch TV and just like click your nipples all the time.
I kind of see them almost as those little like gumball machine toys, the little poppers. Remember those?
No, it's more like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, I'll go. Okay, I see. I'll go with clicky nipples because I have that condition where things smaller than my hand. I don't care about them and I lose them endlessly. So I would definitely lose my fucking ears.
I was wondering if you would remember.
I will. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have until you brought up some ramifications. I would have lost my ears within 24 hours. I'm fucked. That would ruin my whole life. Clicky nips, doing it.
Same.
Solid choice. I feel like I would choose clicky nips. I'm definitely in that camp of like sometimes I need something to like occupy my hands while I'm bored. I definitely see myself just like watching TV and just clicking them for fun.
George, that's what I was going with. I was like in a fight where like, you know, like he's like, I would love detachment ears in a fight with my wife where I'm like, you know, that fight you're having where it's just like, you just want to storm off and walk away. And then like, she's just not going to let you, you know what I'm saying? But now I just take my fucking ears off.
I feel like that's rife for pitfalls. Cause it's like, if you're like arguing with your lady and you're just like low key, you're just like,
no, I do it in front of her.
Off,
like it's because like the whole reason you dramatically leave is like to be an asshole.
Yeah, but it's such like a fuck you moment. Like you better maintain chain of custody on those ears.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
Get them.
Chain of custody issue brings me back to clicking nips. Like it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It would because it started with this just this little thing that would just change your life and be kind of cool to like, oh, you're like magically deaf. Like, can't do anything about it. Nah, can't do it. That's right. Gotta get a blockchain for the mirrors. All right, fuck it. Let's get into it. From the Rob Baer Memorial News Desk, we've got Wyatt Turk reporting.
Head over to the news desk here. Got some pre-orders coming out this weekend. Brand new Kill Team sets. The Kill Team Pariah Nexus contains the box game as well as the brand new Heavy Intercessors that everybody's super hot on. It's going to be $160 US. We also have the Kill Team Kill Zones, which is a book, and that's going to be $40. The Killzone terrain pieces. We've got the Munitorum Hub, the Mechanicus Refinery, and the Sector Fronteris. And all of those are $100 a piece.
Yeah, that is up $10 from when they were originally issued. They were $90.
That makes sense because I think between the last time they released those and now there was an overall price scale jump for certain things.
Yeah, and they are an excellent deal. Unfortunately for me, like I missed them the first time around. I did manage to get I think it's the Fronteras one.
Mm-hmm.
And they are really cool. So if you get, 2 of those boxes, you have enough terrain. And I learned something that I didn't know. And I feel bad about this. So the mats that come with the kill zones are unique on one side, but on the other side, they all match one another. So that you can put 2 of those together and you now have the perfect size for combat patrol and incursion missions of 40K.
That's cool.
I have a feeling like you had this epiphany before, and you've said this exact thing to me.
I did not. I literally learned that like yesterday. And I was like, that's not true. And I went downstairs and pulled out my mat, and I was like, oh.
What time of the day did you have this epiphany?
No, it's 2 mats together make a combat patrol and incursion. We've talked about that before.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, did I have a dream psychically connected to you at the same time?
But the fact that on one side, they're unique.
So one side, it's like a self-contained map, and the other side, it's a part of a puzzle, basically.
Right. If you flip it over, they actually match to the Imperial sector is on the back of all the boards. And I did not know that until like yesterday. So I was like,
okay. Interesting.
Well, that's pretty sick.
So in the pre-orders, the news of the day is that there was a big announcement. So there's going to be a IP partnership between Magic the Gathering and Warhammer 40K. So Warhammer 40K is coming to Magic the Gathering, and they're going to make a expansion of cards for their set of cards called Universes Beyond. And it's going to be a bit of a wait. They said that probably sometime in 2022 for those. And they also said explicitly that the new cards for this expansion will not be standard legal. So I don't know anything about Magic. I assume that means like you can't use them in tournament play or whatever, but maybe it's more of like a collector type of deal.
They're also doing Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
With that.
That's actually interesting. So finally, Games Workshop is doing something with Wizards, but CCG, like straight up. Mm-hmm. They've never, like, there are other card games in the past for like other companies.
Well,
right?
there was a CCG game, I think it was called Dark Millennium, that was out before. Mm-hmm. That wasn't associated with Wizards or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then they had the LCG, which was really, really good, but unfortunately is when FFG lost the 40K license, it is gone. It is mortal.
Yeah, and they had battle cards, which is a bit of a game.
That was like the stocking stuffer game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun. They never came out with anything else for that. It was basically put out as a stocking stuffer, as like a cute little one-shot game that you just play, for like a half hour, and then you're kind of done.
I don't know. It's cool. I mean, I feel like if this goes well, that could mean more partnerships in the future. And I was mentioning in the pre-show, like, I think it would be really cool if we could get a like Wizards of the Coast D&D 5e source book that's like 40K. It's all integrated into their existing systems with D&D Beyond and all of that cool stuff. Like, I'd be really stoked for that.
I don't know how that would affect their license with like the Wrath and Glory folks, though.
I mean, it all depends on if it's like exclusive, and Wrath of Glory is a different system. It's like a different game system. So I think the reason that people make those like more proprietary like stat blocks and dice rolls is because D&D like somehow owns the like D20 setup that D&D uses. Like, I'm sure there's contrivances and all that kind of stuff that goes into it. But I feel like that's maybe a possibility, and like WotC owns a bunch of other stuff. So we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all that's really cool. Other than that, there was a big Age of Sigmar preview over the weekend, basically just showing off a bunch of new models, no like release dates or anything like that. They unveiled the entirety of the new Warhammer Quest box, and all those models look super sick. So if you haven't seen those, you can find them over on Spiky Bits. There's write-ups for all that stuff.
That's the Cursed City stuff, right?
I believe that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of Ravenloft, but in
Oh, speaking of Ravenloft, they just announced a new 5e book for Ravenloft.
Nice.
New source book. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's like somebody's guide to Ravenloft, like some in-universe character. I forget their name, but yeah.
Van Richten's?
Like Van Richten. Yeah, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. I think it's going to be their May release, I want to say.
Nice.
But yeah, it's kind of a slow news week as far as that. Like the Magic the Gathering was like the big news. So that's all I got for Market Watch.
I mean, it is big fucking news because, like, I mean, getting some big IP partnerships, getting some of these big dick bandits to communicate with each other. I mean, I'm still waiting, man. Warhammer 40K clicks. Again,
I was going to say that, but then like my thought process was that like Games Workshop is so against like
other people making models.
I know we know why GW doesn't like about it. We know that because like it also makes business sense. You can't have Space Marines roughly the same size in a box over here and actual Space Marines in a box here. It's competing.
Right.
You can't do that.
I would still like to see this, and I'm actually this is actually a good segue to what I was gonna talk about next. But they totally could do Battlefleet Gothic clicks.
Ooh.
They squandered their opportunity with Titanicus. Remember, Titanicus would have been the dopest click game, right? Because it's already like you have a board that's basically clicks, like, right? So they fucked up on Titanicus. Okay, you're right. Battlefleet Gothic, still a chance. Still a fucking chance.
Battlefleet Gothic clicks. WizKids does have a 40K license. They make the Talisman game that's based on 40K. Relic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do that. So if you guys are listening, Battlefleet Gothic clicks, because I need my BFG fix.
Yeah, and I don't need to be painting those little pieces of shit anyway. They're just dumb little ships that are just ridges. I don't even want to paint them. I just want to play them. You know what I mean? Yep.
Yeah, and somebody said Epic 40K with clicks. That could also work, but I feel like they could recapture Epic with Titanicus if they want.
Titanicus is that. That's what like Titanicus was kind of like. So that they already made their bed with that shit. They're gonna lay in it. Like, so don't fuck up Battlefleet Gothic. Clicks.
But the reason I'm thinking I have Battlefleet Gothic on the brain is there was a game called Battlefleet Gothic Leviathan that came out for mobile. It was Android and iOS, and the company that made it went under. And so you can't really get it anymore, but it was a port of the actual board game Battlefleet Gothic. And it was really, really great. And I even still have an old iPad that I refuse to upgrade because I can play Battlefleet Gothic and Space Hulk on it.
Oh my God.
Well, and then when I went to go trade it in at the Apple store, they were like, we'll give you like $5 for this. And I was like, no. But I really, really wanted a PC port of that. And they do port over some PC games. And on Steam, they just released DACA Squadron, which is a mobile port for PC of an orc kind of arcade shooter. And I've only played the demo because it just came out like this week. So I played the demo and it is absolutely hilarious. All the briefings are done it's an orc overload. So if you like orcs, go check out DACA Squadron on Steam.
Trick question. Everyone likes orcs.
True. To jump back at the Kill Team thing, because that goes on pre-order Saturday for Pariah Nexus. And of course, we know that it has the flayed ones in there. We know that it has a Cryptek, a Necron Cryptek, who I forget right now. It's not, I don't think it's the Chronomancer.
The Chronomancer or the...
It might be, I don't know. And it has the heavy intercessors that everybody, wants, along with a new captain. They have updated the stats for those, for all those models in that box set. And supposedly it comes also with data sheets for every model that came in Indomitus for Kill Team, adapted for Kill Team.
All right.
So
okay.
I thought that was kind of interesting because I was wondering, I was like, 5 flayed ones against 5 heavy intercessors doesn't seem like a very fair fight. And we do know that the terrain is all Necron terrain. So the terrain may help the Necrons, even the board a little bit. But if you have Indomitus, if you have, those guys like assault intercessors and all the other, Necron stuff that comes out of there, you should be able to use them in Kill Team. Because the data sheets for them will be included. And I did think it was kind of interesting that they're putting it in that, but they're not releasing any of the other updates for people in Kill Team, and probably because they don't want to give away, what they have coming down the pike. Because you can, you can
content
take the
drip,
stats,
GW drip. Yeah,
you could take the stats from Kill Team and kind of extrapolate what they would be on the tabletop. The other kind of important thing is that on Facebook in one of the threads, if you were looking at picking up Pariah Nexus, and I hope I'm not wrong on this, so take this with a grain of salt, but if you were going to pick up Pariah Nexus, not for Kill Team, but just for the models inside, like the heavy intercessors and the flayed ones, on one of the Facebook posts talking about this, GW answered that the actual models will be sold separately outside of Pariah Nexus in a few weeks. That's what they cited on there, was that they would be available in a few weeks.
Yeah, you showed us the screenshot too. Like it's it's a real post.
So it was legit.
Which was like a big subject last week for us. Here was the $160 price tag with an undeniable amount of value in that box. For Pariah Nexus.
If you play Kill Team.
Right.
If you're just trying to get the models.
Even if you were just trying to get models, mathematically, it's fine.
Yeah.
They've never not, these bundles have a lot of added value. So it's just like, I'm like, objectively, it fits with your formula. The price is right. The value is there. The problem is, these are the fucking models we've been waiting for all year. Or all last year, practically. Like, where my heavy intercessors at? Where my fucking flay ones at? And so the fact that it's in that box, it was irritating. Not that it's devalued. The box is obviously high value. It's just like, come on. That looks a lot like a money grab. That looks kind of shitty, guys. But the fact that they came out and were like, no, we're talking like a couple weeks. Because before they were like, soon. And a GW soon is...
Could be months.
Yeah. So that's kind of fucking serious. That's awesome that they came out and kind of heard the community and no, we're not. So I don't know if like they changed a schedule for us or... They just wanted to be more clear. Like, no, we're not being dicks, guys. We're like a couple weeks. That's what soon means. Like, so I don't know which it is, but dope.
Cool.
Makes me feel a lot better.
It's a lot better. And, it just depends on your level of paranoia and also how sure are you that you need those models right now because you're going to get around to painting them right now. Because I know I'm going to buy Pariah Nexus for Kill Team, but how soon am I going to paint those guys? Don't know. You know what I mean?
Don't know. I feel like there's a lot of Space Marine players that really want to get their hands on heavy intercessors because I think at this point they're the only thing that is missing from the 9th edition launch of Space Marines. And like stat wise, heavy intercessors are pretty good and people have been wanting to use them. So if you're not like me and you don't have a printer or anything like that, like you haven't been able to use them. And so there's definitely a clamor for like getting your hands on these.
But what I'm saying is unless you're going to use them, like, unless you're going to use them like next week, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, do you really need them or could you just wait? And, if GW did say it would be out in a few weeks. So it's like, do you want to believe GW? That's what it comes down to. Cause I'm like, I know for me,
I do want to believe them.
Yeah. But I know for me, if I buy something like right now, the odds that I'm going to use it that day or the next week are very slim.
I have a feeling that it's going to be the most stretchy,
the maximum interpretation of the state of the phrase a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, a few weeks, and then it's going to be like it'll be on pre-order. in a few weeks, and then you have another week on top of that.
If you believe that, then buy the Pariah Nexus box. I'm just trying to point out to people that a lot of times people need that plastic crack fix, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Out like right now.
And
right?
I mean, there might be a lot of people that are like me. Like I'm in a place right now where literally all my 40K stuff is painted. Like
nice.
I do not have any 40K stuff on the block until we get back to some form of like going back to events and things like that. Like all of my Death Guard stuff is painted for the foreseeable future.
I have never been able to say those words. Never. I have never been able to say that.
I used to be that way and I would just buy. But after my hiatus from 40K, I came back and I was like, I am not going to buy more 40K than I can conceivably get done in a reasonable amount of time. And I don't put models on the table that aren't painted. So that's another like added motivation.
I have stuff from 4th edition that is still not painted.
Oh my God.
That is still new in box.
That's also like the insanity of your collection though.
I have Thunderfire cannons, metal ones that are new in box.
You could like walk. There's times there was an era when you can walk into Haspil's Beat Slab in his basement, and he can like legitimately like save a game store with what he had in the box.
I could have.
Like,
I purged. I had at one point. I think I had 18 armies. I purged a lot. The only
that closet down there, the one that's like, right by the bathroom, like that thing was like ludicrous.
Yep.
Like, and that's like the stuff you couldn't see.
Man, if you had a bunch of like second, third edition metal catechins, I'd buy the shit out of those, but you don't have any.
I do not.
That's like one of my
Guard
dream,
was not one of my armies.
That's one of my dream armies. Is I want like a catechin Imperial Guard army, but I don't want the poopy ones. I want the OG third edition metal sculpts.
Yeah. The one other thing that I need to talk about, and this was actually going to be my actual Haspil's Corner, is I need to recommend another podcast because this was just phenomenal. It is called 40K Game Changers. And in particular, and it is sponsored by Frontline Gaming, and we all know those guys.
Yeah, on their podcast network. They have a podcast network.
Yeah, they have a podcast network, and it's 40K Game Changers episode 7. And they interview Rick Priestley, who, if you don't know, Rick Priestley is the guy he is the father of Warhammer 40K. He started Rogue Trader, which became Warhammer 40K. And they walk you through when Citadel and Games Workshop were two different companies, all the way to where kind of Rick leaves and left GW. And it's really, really cool because he does talk about a lot of stuff. I'm not going to spoil the podcast for you because there's just really, really cool things that are in there. But he talks about some things that we've talked about on this show, actually, where he talks about like originally, there was a heavy element of satire to Warhammer 40K, and that it shouldn't be all grimdark all the time. That there is room for kind of lighter stuff. He talks about the influence that like 2000 AD had on early 40K and how they started putting it together, and then how some throwaway phrases, which you'll have to listen to the podcast to know which throwaway phrases I'm talking about, but how a throwaway phrase that he put into the lore because it sounded cool has literally changed everything. So it's actually very, very,
that's fucking
really a great podcast.
That's enticing.
Yeah, it's really worth a listen. It's about an hour long. I listened to it this morning when I was shoveling my driveway. So
shoveling what? Shoveling what?
Snow. My driveway.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we got like 8 inches last night, like in one night. So that was kind of a surprise because it was like, oh, I went to bed. There was nothing. Got up and Penny said it snowed last night. And I was like, oh, no big deal. It's going to be a dusting. And then it was like 8 inches. I was like, oh.
So last week we had the great blizzard of 2021, and we almost lost it there. for a little bit. It was pretty bad. True Texas fashion though. Friday was like the last day of cold. It was like 23. And it got down to the low 20s that night. And sure as shit, Saturday, it was like a balmy 73 degrees. The very next day, everything was cleaned up and no more snow. And it's been like the 60s, like 50s and to the 70s, like this whole past week. So it's like, I thought that was funny because like usually there's like a bit of a progression where it'll like kind of warm back up a little bit. But no, it was just like 23 to 73 in one night.
Did the snow melt, Wyatt?
Oh yeah. Like,
oh, okay. Because there was like some crazy YouTube conspiracy that there was fake snow.
No. Thursday was like the last day of like precipitation. So like on Thursday, things were starting to kind of thaw out and I was able to like pop down to the convenience store, get my mail, stuff like that. And then Friday, it was like really sunny outside and I went to the convenience store again and the roads were pretty good. Like, at least in my, like in Round Rock Township, they had like put sand and stuff on the roads to help out. So it was like kind of thawed by Friday and there was no precipitation that day or in the night. So no more sleet or snow. But then like Saturday, it was like, you go outside and you're like, wait, it was like below freezing yesterday and now it's 73 outside. Like, goddamn. But yeah, that's Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the memes I saw that did make me laugh about that was, it showed a guy in like a stereotypical, like kind of Texas outfit, like, you know, with a big old cowboy hat and everything. He's holding a shotgun at the ground that's covered with snow and telling it to get off his property.
There was a bunch of good memes about it. There was one that I really liked where it's like one guy did a good job of like creating a like same shot over 2 days. So he's like standing out in his backyard and you can see like his house and some of his property. And it's like, you know, that much snow on everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this was Thursday. And then like Friday, exactly the same, like same mark for him standing in the shot and there was like not a speck of snow to be had. He was like, he was wearing shorts, sunny AF outside. He's like, yep, this is Texas.
Yeah.
Fuck being cold. Hate it.
I actually don't mind it so much. I don't know.
Once in a while, it's fun.
Yeah. Like, so like my thing is like, if it's cold, you can just wear a jacket or something, right? But if it's hot, there's no escaping the heat. Like it's just, you have to go inside and get into the AC. Otherwise, like
but I use that same argument in reverse. If it's cold, I will literally fucking die without a jacket on. And if it's hot, I can just chill in the shade.
Or like, you also literally die from like heat stroke or dehydration.
Not if you're just chilling in the shade with a bottle of water. You can sleep there and not die of hypothermia in the night.
I mean,
naked.
There's valid points to both things. I don't know. I just like, unless I'm like physically exercising or working, like I don't like being sweaty. So
like I don't go outside when it's 100 degrees and I'll go outside when it's fucking freezing.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly my life too.
Okay. We got a new, thank you for the Haspil's Corner, Mike. Good intel. And good tie-in. And now we have a what's new in the FAQ because we have this massive info dump of Death Guard FAQs.
This FAQ, so big, huge, the biggest FAQ.
It took me minutes to read it into
all. We got the best FAQ. All other FAQs, garbage. It's literally like 3 sentences. that's our big Death Guard FAQ. So they clarified Flash Outbreak. Whatever you want to use it on has to have the Play Company keyword. That was sort of like common knowledge, but I guess some people didn't get it the first time. But yeah, just says Play Company has to be Play Company.
Remember, I said that like right at the beginning. Remember, like I was like,
yeah, because everybody was like, oh, I can do Morty, and I'm like, Morty doesn't have Play Company keyword, dog. Can't do it.
It's actually the stratagem is complex and kind of word salad, but perfectly written. So like if you choose to not read and interpret, just like in all 40K rules debates, you can interpret things almost the exact opposite as how they're written if you want.
Yeah. The big one, kind of like the positive. So like the poop sandwich with a tasty morsel inside is that the Death Guard Demon Prince datasheet remove Lord of the Death Guard from that. So what that means is that you can have multiple Demon Princes in one detachment now. Whereas before, because they were Lord of the Death Guard, you could only have one of those per detachment, which means that
and you couldn't have a Lord.
Yeah, and yeah.
It fucked us a little bit on that. Like it was basically one of those guys and a sorcerer was your only choice. Now you can take two badasses. You can take a Lord of Contagion and a Demon Prince.
Yeah. So that's
or two Demon Princes.
Yeah.
Or are we allowed to have more than one Demon Prince detachment? Do they have this? Do they have their own special rule?
I don't think so. I don't know that they're so our special rule to do that is Lord of the Death Guard.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I mean, at the end of the day, now I can slot. Now I am looking at battalions again because I can have what I want.
Yeah. I mean, it's also good for lists where you don't have Morty because you have more points to do stuff with, and that was a real limiting factor. Is that it was like, man, it's like literally one of these and a playcaster.
Yeah, and I mean, like putting Leechboard Casket and Ferric Miasma on my fucking Demon Prince is really fucking awesome. Like,
yeah, it's super cool. And then the actual FAQ section is just one thing, and it says, does the movement penalty from difficult ground reduce the distance moved by a model with the inexorable advance ability? And they said, yes, difficult ground reduces the distance the model can move. It does not modify the model's move characteristic, which is what inexorable advance ignores.
What's sad about that is like it's a massive nerf. Like it seems that way, right? It's because it's like that's how we were interpreting that rule, for sure. So I was like, yo, my Death Guard dudes can walk around and they never this is so fucking strong. And then that FAQ isn't literally, they didn't change a word. They're just like, no, read it again, guys. It says it has to change your move characteristic.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we were just playing it wrong. So it makes what we thought it did way less useful, way more situational, because the list of things that actually change your move characteristic is not as big as the things that make you move less distance,
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Not much going on.
So
thank you.
I mean, but it's some good clarifications to flat, like mostly it's two clarifications and one buff. Is really what it is. It's like,
yeah. And I mean, like, this is fine. So like, I'm joking about it because it's really small, but it speaks to the airtightness of this codex, that like this is all they had to tweak between its release, and
they only tweaked one thing.
Yeah, and there might be some more changes down the road. Like just because you get one FAQ couple weeks after release doesn't mean there's not going to be more. But one thing we have seen with all of these new 9th edition codexes is that a lot of the gotcha bitch style stuff is out. A lot of the weird wombo combo loophole type stuff is out. Things are a lot easier to understand. They're much more clear and defined. So I think this is a good thing. So if we get our next codex, and it's just as small as this one, like cool, like that's awesome. I like that the 9th edition books are becoming more and more balanced.
Yeah, fucking.
Do we have intel on what the next one is? Is it Drukhari?
Drukhari supposedly, but nothing has been official. No dates, no big reveals.
No, we just know that box with sisters is coming out. That's it. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like word on the street is that like next month, Drukhari is probably going to be like the dex, that comes out. And if we're going off of how they usually do stuff, like because they haven't started talking about it yet, I imagine that if it does come out in March, it's going to be at the tail end of it. Because usually they want like at least like a 2-week lead up to do all of their like preview articles and stuff. So if it's early, we might hear about it on Sunday. And if not, we're probably gonna have to wait another like 2 weeks before we hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been already leaking some of the rules, so it's definitely gonna be Chikari. It's just like we don't know the release date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm glad that they're dropping Chikari. That's good. That's a fucking hype ass line of models. I am a fanatic for like the redesign when they came out with all the new Dark Eldar stuff, like how metal they look. You know?
Yeah, they're like super cool. I mean, I don't really have too much like wish listy stuff for the Drukhari. I mean, like my only two things like that impact my collection is I hope that the Prophets of Flesh don't get, beaten over the head too bad if they decide to nerf them. And that things that they haven't been using before can be pretty cool. I mean, like hoping for new models always, that's a fun thing. But like utilizing more of what they have, I think would be a good
make Mandrakes badass.
Yeah, like I was going to say Mandrakes. Like Mandrakes have always been a really interesting unit that you can take in the Drukhari stuff, but they've always been sort of like meh. And a lot of their unit choices are like that. Like there's been clearly good ones and clearly ones that are like, I'll never take that. Right. And like they kind of tried to puff up Incubi a little bit, but they're still sort of like, So like maybe because they have new models now that like in the new codex is when they'll shine a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, either way, it's gonna hurt me much because they're like my tertiary collection. So if they're baller again, like great. And if they're not, then like, okay, whatever. Just won't buy anymore.
On the tail end of this Death Guard discussion, I forgot to promote this earlier. I did release my Plague Burst Crawler video on YouTube. I forgot to even mention that. That it went out on Monday. You can see it on YouTube. So 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, batch painted. The YouTube video is over a half an hour long. Check that shit out. But let's talk about let's switch the gears a little bit. Let's talk about how OP Landspeeders are.
Are they though? Are they OP? Or are they just good? Are they a hidden gem?
They're a hidden gem.
You can do that. Like that. That's a good segment.
Hidden gems. Hidden gem. Based on the attack bike popularity, right? And everyone pretty much agrees that 3 attack bikes from multi-meltas is a hyper efficient use of points for mobile shooting, right? It kind of makes eradicators not mad. Like why would you take the eradicators? Like take the attack bikes, right? 12 wounds, 6 melta gun shots, 165 points, fast. So we talked about it in not just like the Ravenwing world last week, but like all Marines, like attack bike's good, right? Even just a unit of them. So
yeah, they're super solid for what their points cost.
Yeah. So I'm not talking like even spamming, but like spamming's good. But spamming units is how you spam wins. But a crazy thing is I got to looking because I was just kind of like looking through some Blood Angel stuff because of one of my friends, and I was like, man, well, attack bikes are good. He's like, obviously we got some attack bikes, and then I was like, what else is kind of like an attack bike? And then I looked at like these 6 fucking Landspeeder data sheets, right? I was like, man, sometimes Landspeeders are really good and sometimes they're not, right? They fall in and out of favor. Like, yes. Remember back in the day, Haspil, like in 4th edition, like when assault cannons were strong, Landspeeders were strong. And then they weren't strong. And then I remember like my friend Nick Rose made them popular again with his Black Templars because he mapped out why they're so good. And then people started taking single Landspeeders to fill out detachments and stuff. Like they come in and out of favor. And you used to be able to just take a Landspeeder and be like, I'm going to take the heavy bolter, upgrade it to multi-melta, buy the flamer. It's pretty cheap. Here it is. I'll buy a Typhoon missile launcher for it. But now they're like all broken in different data sheets, right? And I was looking at them all and looking at their points, and I just had my calculator out and I was looking at attack bikes. And then I saw the last one on my list was the regular 60-point Landspeeder. I was like, okay, well, they're all just different data sheets now, I guess, because I looked at the one where you can have 2 weapons, the one where you can have 3, and like, you're paying so many points. It's like, these are dumb. I'll go down to the 60-point Landspeeder, upgrade its heavy bolter to a multi-melta for 10 points. It's 70 points. I was like, okay, let me go to the one with more guns, and it's like 85 points. I was like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, can they squadron still? And then I just like, okay, yeah, they can. So I was like, 2 Landspeeders with a multi-melta is 140 points. It's 12 wounds. Hold on a second. 12 wounds, 4 shots. The other one is 12 wounds, 6 shots. But the attack bikes are 165. The Landspeeder is 140. So right at the 2 in a unit math breakdown, that's really the point I want to drive home. 2 in a unit math breakdown is really fucking desirable because you're only fucking like 15 points you're 15 points cheaper, which is kind of like what like more than a model can pay for. It's basically more than a multi-melta costs, but you have a unit that moves even faster, that has the fly keyword, that has the same amount of wounds, more toughness, and 4 shots. So we went crazy today on the tactics discussion, just like talking about like, holy shit, you're right, this is efficient. And we have this thing now we call the detachment. Mike, it's an outrider detachment. 9 attack bikes and multi-meltas, 3 squads of 2 Landspeeders and multi-meltas, and 100 point captain on bike. It's 1,015 points.
HQ of choice, right?
1,015 points.
Yeah, so a lot of really cool stuff going on here. So it's what 30 multi-melta shots, correct?
30 shots.
Wow.
Yes.
So 30 multi-melta shots. Attack bikes are core, so they can benefit from the captain's rerolls. You can also do something like Librarian, Jump Pack to keep up with those guys, and he can do Psychic Fortress, gives all of them an invul save, which is something they lack, which is nice. And just the fact that these Landspeeders, they move 18 inches. So tactically, they're really good because they're not so big that they're hard to maneuver on the table. So it's like if you're worried about going second, you can put 2 of them fairly easily behind most of your obscuring type terrain, right? Mm-hmm. Because it can be a relatively medium-sized to large-sized terrain piece. As long as it's more than 5 inches tall, it gets obscuring. So you can kind of null deploy them to hide from the alpha strike. But then they move 18 inches, so you can just pop them out and
on things.
Yeah, and going to be in range most of the time, and they can give you that nice like go second beta strike along with all the attack bikes, because attack bikes are small, they don't have bases, you can do weird shit with them, like shove them up behind terrain and all that type of deal. And just because it's like 1,000 points and the modularity of Space Marines,
it's half your army. You still have half to make something crazy to fit into that.
Yeah, and there's so many, like, just we were playing around with it on tactics class, and I was like, okay, so what else do I need to go along with these that I would really want, right? Because speed kills. Speed is really good in 9th edition. I want some melee power. I want some volume of firepower, right? So what's good for that, and what's really points efficient? In the Codex Contemptor Dreadnought for 150 points, because you can give it a multi-melta if you want, right? If you just want to go like crazy with multi-meltas, but I put the Carries Assault Cannon on there because it's 6 shots of strength 7, -1 AP, 1 damage. And it has the Dreadnought Fist and has a Storm Bolter in that fist, all for 150 points. And the Contemptor has the built-in invul save, which is the tits for any vehicle. And it moves 8 inches a turn. It's a fast little boy. So you can get 3 of those and take that list up to about 1,500 points, right? And you can still have, you can put that into your existing one, or you can make a Vanguard detachment. And then you have all these other slots that you can put between those 2 detachments to create this really solid, tactically flexible army.
What's crazy about it is that was just Wyatt's first thing, right? Because you're like, wait, he's like, how many points is all that? I was like, the detachment is 1,015 points. He's like, hold on, shit, I can literally do any wacky idea as efficiently or inefficiently as I want and still have this insane mobile board control, board presence, DPS fire base that plays the 9th edition primary super well. It plays engage on all fronts super well and lays down 30 melta shots super fucking well. It's still 1,000 points and he's like 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. I was like, yeah.
And then it's still like 420 points of like whatever troops you might want, or infantry if you want to be able to do actions and stuff like that. Like so many options in the modularity of how Space Marines work. Because the attack bikes are core, you can put Rites of War on your cool light captain, because you can just give him a chainsword, Teeth of Terra. He's a nasty boy.
You kind of see that as a theme throughout. Like almost any wacky thing we do with the detachment is built around the Rites of War flexibility.
It gives OBSEC to core units.
Yeah.
Dreadnoughts are core. You can have him hop over, and now all of a sudden that Contemptor Dreadnought is OBSEC, which is pretty nice. You can put whirlwinds in your army. Having like 2 whirlwinds with all these land speeders is actually really cool. Like they're more expensive than they used to be, but the fact that like anything within 18 inches of one of these land speeders, now those whirlwinds are hitting on 2s. So you don't have to allocate your character resource to giving them rerolls, because it's like you're just hitting on 2s. And whirlwinds are still really good at either clearing hordes with their 1 missile or killing Space Marines with their other missile, right? So like you want to be able to kill a lot of Space Marines with every army you make. So having a couple of those in there, and I think they're like 125 or something like that.
Yeah, 125.
Yeah, and so it's like
it's not bad.
Okay, so
it also can just set an objective in the backfield and contribute, and has a thing that is hyper efficient, the Landspeeder doing what it do, but also now providing you more efficiency, so it's a good synergy.
All sorts of really interesting things, you know.
It's crazy. I mean, and what got me thinking was Blood Angels, right? I'm not gonna go through any like the Blood Angel list or anything, but like my boy was like just upset about Blood Angels, and I was like, well, we gotta think like what's just dumb efficient that we can build something around that'll kind of like get us through some of the mission parameters in 9th edition, so we can have Blood Angels tech still in our other detachment. And this is what we came up with at the end of the day, was like this 1,000 15 point detachment is just like, you can do crazy shit. And of course, it gets more powerful with more powerful Space Marine chapters. Like obviously, Raven Wing version of this, real fucking good. Obviously, the Salamander version of this, real fucking good. Yeah, the Ultramarine version of this, real fucking good with all those with Wyatt style of play. It's ridiculous, and it's got me like frothing for like crazy wacky combos to know that I'm going to see this old ass like attack bikes and land speeders fucking flying around the table in a world of all these Primaris Marines and all these fucking new models. This is what I choose to fucking play with and win games with. Mm-hmm. Had me tickled pink today.
Oh yeah. I mean, like after we were talking about this, I was thinking about it, and with how crazy you can get with like slotting the stuff in and out, and just like the solidness of this one Outrider detachment as like a baseline for all of your armies. It's like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, if you play Space Marines, this Outrider detachment is like an auto include in every one of your armies, because it has such a good 9th edition style base to it that unless you're going for something like completely different, which needs like a full 2,000 point cohesive build, like I would feel really comfortable taking an army with this attachment in it to any event and doing well against a myriad of stuff, right?
That's how excited I am about it. I feel like I can do almost like, I feel confident right now. Not even played Space Marines in years. Just like the amount of like research I've done over the last 72 hours getting hype on this one thing. I feel like I can go fucking to a tournament this weekend and fucking do well with it.
Wow.
With that detachment as the core. Cause like I said, it opened with that and Rites of War, Warlord trait. It opens the door to some wacky shit, man. Like other weird things. Like one of the things I postulated today was like, you know, like Wyatt and I used to be dick hard on Vanguards with commie plasmas and drop pods when like the drop pod rules got revised. I was like, well, you can still do that, but in rhinos. And like basically have like a block of like 4 fucking rhinos with commie meltas in them and shit running around. None of them are objective secure. You know, you can have like a tactical squad if you want with some commie meltas and 3 Vanguard squads, or sorry, Stern Guard squads, all in Rhino, moving around with a fucking captain who gives them objective secure, and they're pumping like 1 billion fucking plasma shots too, in addition to all your other shit. Like you could, and that's just you get not a Primaris model in your whole army. literally regular ass hobos and rhinos. And I'd be like, I'd fuck somebody up with that list, dude. I'd be like on every objective secure, blowing everything off blowing up everything in your fucking army and giving you too many targets to interact with too many turns before I fucking ran away with the points. I could do that to people with a very low level of fucking Space Marine fucking practice, I think, with that list.
I will say, like, as we were looking into this detachment requires one thing, I think, because it's not mindless. It's not like easy button, right? It's not like shove your models into the enemy and win. Like, target priority is incredibly important with this detachment. Like, because it's meltas. I mean, like, you can split fire the combi bolters off of the attack bikes into like infantry and stuff like that to get usefulness out of those. But like, you have 30 melta shots, and you have to spend those 30 melta shots wisely to make sure that your opponent can't just like wipe all this stuff. Because at the end of the day, land speeders and attack bikes aren't that hard to kill, unless you're Raven Wing. But even then, like a 5-up invul save, it's 5-up invul save. It's not a guaranteed thing. So you have to look at your opponent's army, look at where everything is deployed, and you have to have good target priority. Or because if you waste that crippling shot with this detachment, like, I don't know that you can recover from a reprisal.
See, what the interesting is like, that's a valid point, but if you're also playing the objective super wisely and playing this a little cagey, it may. Because like, you may just, be playing a game where you're just going to win all the points and then lose every model in your army. Like, if you're engaging,
that's true. You could play cagey with these guys. Like,
if you're engaging on all fronts and you're winning primary and doing rites of battle or whatever that other fucking OP secondary is, and
like different matchups are going to require different solutions. Yeah. So, I mean, like, if let's just say that like we're shadowboxing like our Death Guard army versus this, right?
I feel terrible fighting this army with my Death Guard army.
Because it's the fucking vehicle fun police. So it's like, what am I going to use? Like, I'm definitely going to try to kill all 3 Plague Burst crawlers. Like, those got to go first, because those have the cannons on them. Because if you get rid of the Plague Burst crawlers, really the threat is Morty and the Lord of Virulence.
No, I have to touch you now. Like, so if you can get rid of those and then like sacrifice some units to do it and then pull back, like, I can't do anything.
Or hell, if you're like more like in the matchup with what you have on the table, if you're more worried about Morty than you are the PBCs, like because like a lot of these builds are very shooty, so close combat might be an issue. Just like gank Morty. Like, Morty cannot survive 30 multi-melta shots. Yeah,
if you have some rerolls built in and stuff like that, like, just to guarantee it in case there's a -1, like, bro, it's dirty. Like, it's dirty. And of course, Chad has mentioned a couple times. We haven't even talked about like apothecaries, other buff characters that like are known. Like, there's
like we said, you have like 1,000 points to play with after this.
Do what you want for those 1,000 points. Like, I'm just saying, like, this, like, it's so. I'm glad we talked about it today, because it's like, it's crazy. It's ludicrous. It reminds me of the old days. It's kind of like that 4th edition style where people had some wily shit, man. Like, it's
cool. I like this. Part of me would want to build this with like out of print models, not necessarily like Rogue Trader land speeders, but like, remember the tactical Marines from Blackreach? Like your 4th edition tactical Marines.
I've heard of them. I feel like Haspil has a lot of them still.
So I would want to do like the plastic land speeders, the plastic attack bikes, and then have like Rhinos, Razorbacks, Contemptor Dreadnoughts with like the like 4th edition plastic Space Marines. So it's just like and paint it in sort of a more like flatter OG like 4th edition color scheme, just to be like a really old school looking army. And it's like, I just want to, like, I can picture people being like, what does this do with all these like fucking tactical Marines in this list? And like, it's like attack bikes and land speeders.
Whatever I want, dude. That's what I'm doing with them.
Then you roll up and you're like, yeah, I'm going to throw 30 multi-melta shots at you. And that's like half of my army. The other half is
Born Again Man Child says, and Goblin Green bases.
Yes.
That is the one concession I will not make. I do not like those. I'm sorry.
I'm going to overrule that, dude. I think you have to if you're going to go that route.
Nah.
If you're going to Blackreach dudes and old school shit like that.
I don't think the Black Recruits were on Goblin
They
Recruits.
weren't.
They were not.
I'm exaggerating. In Veto, also, I usually don't call it the chat, but he brought up Iron Hands, and I forgot to mention Iron Hands, but I mentioned that earlier today. Iron Hands real good in this because of the Feel No Pain and the Devastator Doctrine and stuff like that. Everything has a way to make this better. Like
there's power, like there's pros and cons to every chapter. Like obviously, like the most survivable is going to be like the Ravenwing because they have all of their stuff and they have stratagems to back all that stuff up.
And Apothecary and Bike.
Right. And then you have things that'll like buff the weapons and have more offensive power, right? And you might have things like the Ultramarines, which are more tactically flexible, more answers to every situation with all of their stratagems and that sort of thing. But like, that's the cool thing is it literally does not matter what Space Marines you play. This is good for it. Like it's a solid attachment to work off of.
Glad we got to mention that in our little tactics.
I'll have to look into that for my Death Watch. Except that's a lot of attack bikes. So
yeah, it's 9. It's all of them. You've never owned
a lot
9.
of anything, dude.
Yeah,
like,
so that
9's a lot of anything. Nice.
Yeah, 9's
Good
a lot.
callback. Good callback.
That would probably be my Blood Ravens.
I can see Mike. He's going to get like 4 attack bikes in to be like, oh, are we done yet? Can we take a break?
Whether we're talking the Wu-Tang Clan or attack bikes, 9 is a lot.
I just got that.
That's why I repeated it just so because I detected you hadn't picked up on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like we did it. I feel like we came here and said everything we wanted to say. So without Rob Baer here to, for me to terrorize in this next segment.
Oh, do we need a talker? Because that's usually what Rob does.
Oh yeah. We need a talker. Do we need to just hire a guy?
Well, I was like, I can be.
You want to do it? Haspil. Yeah. I think we finished. Or sorry, we should say Rob, and then I said Haspil. Wyatt, I think we finished, man. I think we did it all.
We good?
Yeah.
Haspil, take us out of here.
It ain't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm smart, not like everyone thinks, like dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.